There is a subtle thief that does not come in the night, but in the soft daylight of comfort. It whispers, "Not now. Tomorrow will be better." It promises peace and delivers regret. It is procrastination, the gentle assassin of purpose. The human mind often imagines that time is abundant, that the sun will rise again with equal warmth, and that opportunity will wait by the door until we are ready. Yet time is not a servant. It is a stream that flows whether we swim or stand still. The one who waits too long to act will find that even the banks have changed, and what could have been has drifted forever beyond reach. We often call procrastination laziness, but it is not mere sloth. It is unbelief. It is the failure to trust that action today has eternal weight. The world was not shaped by those who waited for a better season, but by those who acted in imperfect moments, trusting that obedience to the present would reveal the path to the future. Every noble deed, every discovery, every act of creation began not with certainty but with courage. The courage to begin. How easily the heart deceives itself with the illusion of tomorrow. We say, "I shall start when I feel ready." But readiness is a mirage. Feelings are fickle companions. They rise and fall like waves, but the shore of duty remains still. To wait for perfect conditions is to wait for a wind that never blows. The wise do not ask the day to be kind. They meet it as it is. They understand that every delay strengthens the chains of habit, while every act of effort weakens them. To act, even in uncertainty, is to break free from the prison of potential and step into the realm of progress. There is a sacred power in beginning small. The first step may seem trivial, yet it holds within it the seed of greatness. The mighty tree begins with the smallest root pressing through the earth. Likewise, the great mind is not formed by grand resolutions, but by consistent obedience to the smallest task. When we train ourselves to do what must be done today, we build the muscles of character that can lift the weight of tomorrow's challenges. The task that seems beneath us is often the very tool that shapes us, but there is a deeper battle between desire and duty. Desire calls for comfort, for ease, for postponement. Duty whispers of responsibility, of meaning, of purpose. When the two collide, the soul must choose its master. If we yield to desire, we fall asleep while our destiny waits outside, knocking. If we obey duty, we awaken to the deeper joy of a life well lived. True satisfaction does not come from leisure, but from labor that fulfills one's calling. The hands that work with purpose find rest even in toil, while the idle heart grows weary in comfort. Work, then, is not punishment but participation in creation. Each task, no matter how simple, is an offering. To clean, to write, to study, to build. These are not mere motions of the body, but expressions of order, discipline, and faith. When we do our work well, we mirror the divine act of creation, transforming chaos into form and potential into power. Procrastination mocks this sacred process. It leaves the canvas blank, the book unwritten, the seed unplanted. But the one who acts, however imperfectly, joins in the grand rhythm of creation itself. And finally, there is the present, the eternal, now. It is here that life happens. Decisions are made, and destinies are born. The past cannot be changed, and the future cannot be touched. Both exist only in imagination. But the present is holy ground. To live fully in it is to honor the gift of time itself. Every moment we seize expands our world. Every moment we waste diminishes it. When we understand that now is all we truly have, procrastination loses its power. The clock no longer ticks in threat. It beats in opportunity. The greatest tragedy is not that life is short, but that we delay living it. The one who conquers procrastination does not merely gain time, they gain clarity, strength, and peace. The call of life is not someday, it is today. To act is to trust, to work is to believe, and to begin is already to win. The weight of waiting is one of the heaviest burdens a human soul can carry. It does not shout, it whispers. It does not attack, it lulls. Waiting, when born from fear, becomes a quiet thief that steals vitality, creativity, and spiritual motion. Each delay builds upon the last, forming invisible walls around our potential until we are imprisoned by hesitation. The tragedy is that this waiting often disguises itself as wisdom, as patience, as careful planning. But there is a difference between waiting for the right moment and avoiding the responsibility of the present. The first is strength. The second is surrender. When we convince ourselves that delay is a form of prudence, we forfeit the transformative power of action. The soul weakens not because it lacks opportunity, but because it chooses comfort over courage. Every great endeavor begins with a trembling step, yet the one who hesitates never learns the strength hidden within the first motion. The mind, in its cunning, often creates excuses cloaked in logic. I will begin when I have more knowledge. I will act when I feel inspired, or I will try when the path becomes clear. But clarity is not the starting point. It is the result of movement. The fog of uncertainty does not lift until one begins to walk through it. Waiting for confidence before acting is like waiting for the sea to still before setting sail. The waters of life are never perfectly calm, yet only those who dare to move discover that motion itself brings stability. The act of doing dissolves the fear of doing. There exists a secret law of the spirit: time rewards the mover, not the dreamer. Those who act while others hesitate find that time expands for them, offering opportunities unseen by the idle. The one who delays, on the other hand, finds that time shrinks, pressing upon them the weight of all they did not begin. Waiting creates anxiety because the human spirit was never meant for dormancy. The heart is designed for motion, for creation, for participation in the flow of life. When it stalls, it grows restless. Restlessness is the echo of unused potential, the cry of a purpose that has been silenced by indecision. Many wait for signs, for divine assurance, for perfect conditions to align. But the truth is that signs often appear only after the first step of faith. The one who moves receives guidance along the way. The one who stands still sees nothing but his own shadow. The universe rewards faith expressed through action. A man who lifts his hand to work invites inspiration, but the man who folds his arms in delay invites decay. Waiting, therefore, becomes a form of spiritual erosion. It dulls the edge of passion, corrodes the strength of will, and numbs the imagination. The longer we wait, the harder it becomes to rise. The weight of inaction compounds like rust upon the soul, until movement feels impossible. The danger of waiting is that it seduces the mind with comfort, while quietly training it in weakness. The longer we postpone action, the more we teach ourselves to tolerate mediocrity. Every small surrender, each not yet, each tomorrow, forms a pattern that the spirit begins to accept as normal. Soon, hesitation becomes habit, and habit becomes identity. The individual who once dreamed of greatness becomes one who simply dreams, doing nothing to awaken the vision. The tragedy of procrastination is not merely lost time, but the slow death of belief in oneself. We begin to doubt that we ever had the strength to begin, forgetting that the strength we long for is born only through beginning. The mind often mistakes waiting for safety. It believes that stillness protects it from failure. Yet the truth is that inaction is the surest form of failure, for it guarantees that nothing changes. Life is not meant to be preserved like a fragile ornament. It is meant to be lived, tested, stretched. Growth requires friction. Progress demands effort. To avoid struggle under the illusion of safety is to trade purpose for paralysis. The one who acts may stumble, but he learns. The one who waits avoids the bruise, but forfeits the lesson. Fear of failure disguises itself as prudence, but in truth, it is disobedience to one's potential. Time, when viewed rightly, is not a passive flow but an active invitation. Each moment calls us to respond, to act, to create, to contribute. The soul that answers this call grows in strength and lightness, while the one that ignores it sinks deeper into heaviness. The weight of waiting is not imposed by the world, it is self-chosen. It is the burden of unused energy, of restrained will, of purpose confined. Freedom, paradoxically, is found not in avoidance but in engagement. When we act, even in uncertainty, we experience liberation from doubt. Action cleanses the mind, purifies the will, and restores momentum. To overcome the weight of waiting, one must learn to see time not as a cushion, but as a calling. The present moment is never empty. It is alive with opportunity. The task before us, however small, is the doorway to the greater task. Each motion forward, however hesitant, lifts a portion of that invisible weight. And as the soul begins to move, it discovers something remarkable, that the burden of waiting was heavier than the labor of doing. The mind, once paralyzed by fear, finds clarity in effort. The heart, once dulled by delay, finds joy in progress. Motion awakens meaning. The weight of waiting can only be lifted by action. The first act, however small, is a declaration of freedom. It is the moment the soul breaks its own chains and steps into its rightful rhythm with life. Time does not belong to those who observe it pass, but to those who use it to build, to serve, to create. The world moves forward not because people wish, but because they work. Waiting promises ease but delivers regret. Action demands effort but yields transformation. And though the road of action is steep, it is the only path that leads to fulfillment. The one who begins to live. The illusion of tomorrow is one of the most deceptive comforts the human mind creates. It offers a sense of safety, as if the future were a secure vault where we can store our intentions and return to them when we are ready. But tomorrow is a shadow that never stands still. It recedes each time we move toward it, promising fulfillment yet delivering delay. The belief that there will always be another chance, another day, another season to begin is the quiet ruin of countless dreams. Tomorrow, in truth, is the most powerful excuse the mind ever invented, a refuge for those who fear the weight of now. We imagine we are being wise by waiting, but in reality, we are deceived by our own postponement. Every time we say, "I'll start tomorrow," we trade a living moment for a lifeless one. We turn vibrant opportunity into future fantasy. The present is the only moment that breathes, the only place where effort can plant its seed and harvest can begin. Tomorrow does not exist outside the imagination, yet we live as though it were a guarantee written into the laws of the universe. We assume that the same strength, motivation, and time we possess today will be waiting for us later, untouched. But time is not a patient friend, it changes us as it passes. The desire we feel today may not survive to tomorrow. The strength we have now may not return. When we place our trust in a future that does not belong to us, we gamble with the only certainty we have, the present. The illusion of tomorrow thrives because it flatters the ego. It allows us to believe that we are in control, that we can decide when the right moment will come. Yet the right moment is never chosen, it is made. Those who accomplish much in life are not those who found the perfect time, but those who made imperfect moments perfect through their will. Waiting for the stars to align, for conditions to settle, or for inspiration to strike is like waiting for the wind to blow in every direction at once. The world moves forward through those who understand that someday is not a day on the calendar. The person who refuses to act today underestimates how fragile time truly is. There is a quiet tragedy in the comfort of postponement. It soothes the conscience for a while, convincing us that delay is harmless. We tell ourselves that rest is preparation, that waiting will make us stronger, that tomorrow we will do better. But tomorrow rarely brings strength. It brings distance. Distance from our purpose, our enthusiasm, our inner drive. The longer we delay, the more distant our goals appear. Passion cools in the absence of movement. Dreams fade when they are not touched by effort. The illusion of tomorrow is a slow erosion of the will, wearing it down until even the thought of beginning feels heavy. To live under the illusion of tomorrow is to forget the sacredness of the present. The present moment is not simply time. It is life itself condensed into an instant of divine opportunity. It is the ground where change can happen, the soil in which all progress grows. When we turn our eyes from it, imagining something better ahead, we step out of reality and into illusion. The mind is a skilled painter of future scenes, decorating them with ease, success, and satisfaction. But these imagined tomorrows are hollow. They have no weight, no breath, no power. Action alone gives substance to our dreams. Without it, the future remains an endless mirage, a picture that recedes each time we approach it. Fear often hides beneath the illusion of tomorrow. It tells us we are waiting for the right time. But in truth, we are avoiding discomfort. The present requires courage. It demands we face our weakness, our uncertainty, our imperfection. Tomorrow offers escape, a chance to postpone confrontation with ourselves. But growth is forged only in the fires of now. Courage does not grow from waiting, it grows from doing. Each act of effort strengthens the will, each moment of delay weakens it. To live fully, one must learn to act even when conditions are uncertain, even when fear whispers. Later, the moment you begin, the illusion begins to break. The illusion of tomorrow also blinds us to the beauty of the ordinary. When we keep our eyes fixed on a better, later, we fail to see the opportunities hidden in the simplicity of today. Great change rarely arrives in grand moments. It begins in the humble now. The decision to write one page, to take one step, to build one habit may appear insignificant, yet it is these acts that create the foundation of destiny. Tomorrow's greatness is built from today's obedience. The one who learns to act in small things today will find themselves ready for great things tomorrow. But the one who waits for greatness to arrive before acting will never find it. Life, when rightly understood, is not a series of tomorrows but a continuous present. Each breath we take is a reminder that time moves only in one direction, forward. It does not pause for our hesitation or bend to our excuses. We often think we are saving energy by waiting, but the truth is, waiting drains more than it preserves. It consumes thought, stirs guilt, and weakens conviction. The energy we use to resist action could have built something real if directed toward effort. The one who begins today, even imperfectly, will achieve more than the one who plans endlessly for tomorrow. In every age, humanity has been tempted by the promise of later. Yet those who change the world, those who build, create, and inspire, are not those who waited for better conditions, but those who dared to honor the day they were given. They understood that tomorrow is a dream, but today is a duty. To act today is to take control of destiny. To wait for tomorrow is to surrender it. The illusion of tomorrow vanishes only when we honor the present as the true field of battle. What we do now echoes through the future far louder than any intention left unfulfilled. The one who acts today stands in reality. The one who waits lives in illusion. The discipline of small beginnings is one of the greatest lessons in the pursuit of productivity and purpose. Most people dream of greatness, but despise the small steps that lead to it. They imagine their success will arrive in grand gestures, in sudden transformations, in moments of dramatic revelation. Yet the truth of all enduring achievement is that it begins in silence, in obscurity, in the humble labor that few notice and fewer applaud. The seed does not complain that it is buried beneath the soil. It understands that darkness is the beginning of growth. In the same way, every worthy endeavor demands patience, consistency, and humility to start small. It is not the size of the beginning that defines the outcome, but the spirit with which one begins. Greatness is never born from sudden brilliance. It grows through quiet persistence. Small beginnings teach discipline, and discipline is the foundation of mastery. The person who learns to honor small tasks prepares the mind and heart for greater responsibilities. It is easy to act when the reward is visible, but true strength is shown when one acts faithfully without recognition. The small, unseen acts, rising early, keeping promises, finishing what one starts, build the inner order that later sustains success. Each little duty performed with diligence trains the soul in endurance. It is not in the grand victories that character is shaped, but in the repeated, unnoticed acts of effort that test and refine the will. The one who cannot handle the small will never handle the great, for the great is made up of thousands of small parts, each demanding the same care and attention. The world often celebrates outcomes but neglects the process. Yet every towering achievement has roots hidden deep in unseen labor. The writer who completes a masterpiece began by writing a single line. The scholar who shapes thought began by reading a single page. The builder of empires began by laying one brick at a time. The discipline of small beginnings is the acceptance that growth is gradual, that progress is incremental, and that patience is as powerful as passion. When one learns to appreciate each small step as sacred, the journey itself becomes fulfilling. Those who rush toward results often lose heart when progress seems slow, but those who embrace small beginnings understand that each moment of effort contributes to a larger purpose. There is also humility in beginning small. It requires the strength to admit that we are learners, that we do not yet know everything, and that improvement comes through steady practice. Pride resists small beginnings because pride seeks recognition without work, but the humble spirit sees the value in process, in apprenticeship, in growth. A seed does not demand to be a tree overnight. It allows time to shape it. In a world obsessed with instant success, the disciplined soul must learn the art of patience, to trust that slow progress is still progress, and that the small done faithfully becomes the great done beautifully. Each day of small effort compounds silently, and one morning, the results that seemed invisible will appear undeniable. Small beginnings are also a test of faith. When results are far away and rewards unseen, it is easy to doubt the value of effort. Yet faith is not believing that success will come immediately. It is believing that consistency will bear fruit in due time. The farmer does not dig up his seed each day to check if it is growing. He waters, waits, and works. The same law governs the soul. We must do our part, even when the evidence of progress is hidden. The discipline to persist in the small is proof of trust in the process. Every action, no matter how minor, becomes a declaration that we believe our effort matters. The difference between those who succeed and those who fail often lies not in talent, but in persistence. There is a quiet power in small actions done with intention. A single habit can transform a life if practiced daily. One small decision, to rise earlier, to read instead of scroll, to plan instead of drift, can alter the course of an entire future. The mind may tell us that these small actions are insignificant, but the soul knows they are the foundations of destiny. Every great mountain is climbed one step at a time, and every life of excellence is built one choice at a time. The discipline of small beginnings reminds us that success is not a single act, but 1,000 repeated efforts aligned toward a purpose. The one who embraces this truth frees themselves from the burden of perfection and learns the joy of steady progress. The small beginning is also a teacher of gratitude. It teaches us to find meaning in the process rather than only in the outcome. When we appreciate each small victory, the finished paragraph, the learned skill, the completed task. We build momentum and confidence. Gratitude for the small keeps the heart humble and the mind focused. It prevents discouragement when the larger vision seems far away. Every master was once a beginner who celebrated small improvements. The art of productivity is not found in rushing to the end, but in cherishing each step of the journey. Those who despise small things often remain trapped in dreams, while those who honor them turn dreams into reality. Moreover, the discipline of small beginnings transforms how we view failure. In large ventures, failure feels devastating, but in small steps, it becomes manageable. When we start small, we allow ourselves room to grow, to adjust, to learn. Each mistake becomes a teacher, not a tragedy. The courage to begin small gives birth to resilience, the ability to continue despite imperfection. Through repetition and patience, we learn that excellence is not the absence of error, but the mastery born from persistence. Those who demand instant perfection never reach it, while those who progress through imperfect beginnings discover it along the way. Ultimately, the discipline of small beginnings is not just a method. It is a mindset. It is the recognition that every moment holds potential, that every effort contributes to a larger whole. It is a rejection of impatience and an embrace of progress. The one who understands this truth lives with purpose, for they see each day as an opportunity to advance, even slightly, toward their vision. The greatness that others admire from afar is merely the accumulation of small, disciplined acts performed faithfully over time. The disciplined soul knows that the path to mastery is not paved in leaps but in steps, and each step, however small, is sacred. The battle between desire and duty is one of the most profound conflicts a human being can face. Within every heart, there exists a constant tension, the longing for comfort, ease, and pleasure on one side, and the call to responsibility, purpose, and action on the other. Desire is seductive. It tempts us with the illusion of peace while quietly eroding ambition. It whispers that rest should come before work, that enjoyment should precede effort, that waiting is safer than moving. Duty, in contrast, demands discipline, courage, and a willingness to endure discomfort for the sake of a higher purpose. It calls not to what is easy, but to what is necessary. The soul that yields entirely to desire will find temporary satisfaction, but it is always fleeting. The soul that obeys duty, however, discovers strength, fulfillment, and a lasting sense of achievement that desire alone can never provide. This battle is not fought in grand gestures alone. It is waged in the small, daily choices that shape character. Every decision between comfort and effort is a test of the spirit. Choosing sleep over study, pleasure over responsibility, convenience over commitment may seem trivial in the moment, yet these moments accumulate into the pattern of a life. Desire is immediate and persuasive, but duty is enduring and transformative. The one who chooses duty over desire learns that the labor of obedience builds habits that empower future action. Conversely, surrendering to desire strengthens weakness and fosters a mind accustomed to avoidance. The choices we make in private, when no one is watching, reveal the true strength of our character, and it is in these hidden decisions that the battle between desire and duty is most keenly felt. One of the most deceptive qualities of desire is its ability to present itself as necessity. It convinces us that rest is urgent, that entertainment is deserved, that the delay of work is a kindness to ourselves. Yet this is a false kindness. Desire rarely aligns with purpose. It serves only the ego's fleeting whims. Duty, by contrast, is rarely easy to perceive, yet its rewards are eternal. It asks us to move beyond comfort, to embrace discipline, and to trust that the labor demanded of us will bear fruit. The courageous soul recognizes that the path of duty may be steep and uncomfortable, yet it is the only path that leads to growth. Every act of obedience to duty strengthens the will, trains the mind, and purifies the heart. The battle between desire and duty also reveals the nature of time. Desire is always concerned with the present moment, seeking immediate gratification, while duty extends vision into the future. To yield to desire is to surrender the long term for the short term, to trade legacy for leisure. Duty asks us to invest in what will last, to labor today for the sake of tomorrow, to defer pleasure for a higher gain. There is no victory in indulgence alone. The satisfaction it offers is fleeting and shallow. Duty, even when resisted, shapes destiny. Every effort made in obedience to responsibility, no matter how small, accumulates into results that desire alone could never achieve. The disciplined soul learns to see time as a treasury to be invested wisely, rather than a gift to be squandered on transient whims. The struggle is amplified by the human tendency to rationalize. Desire always finds reasons to delay action. I am tired. I deserve a break. The conditions are not ideal. Each excuse is a subtle victory for desire over duty. Yet the wise recognize these as illusions, as arguments constructed by the mind to avoid challenge. Duty asks only that we act, even imperfectly, even reluctantly, trusting that momentum and persistence will transform effort into progress. The one who consistently chooses duty, despite resistance, develops mastery over the self. The very act of resisting desire and obeying duty strengthens character in ways that success alone never could. Furthermore, the battle between desire and duty is deeply connected to the concept of purpose. Desire seeks comfort, but purpose seeks fulfillment. Fulfillment does not come from ease. It comes from engagement with the work we were meant to do. Each act of obedience to duty aligns us with our potential, guiding the soul toward the expression of its true power. Desire distracts. It leads to distraction, procrastination, and eventual regret. Duty directs. It leads to growth, contribution, and a life marked by meaning. Those who learn to obey duty over desire find that the labor itself becomes a source of joy, that the struggle is not punishment but training, and that accomplishment brings a satisfaction deeper than any transient pleasure. The battle is also spiritual in nature. Desire focuses on the self, comfort, avoidance, indulgence, while duty points beyond, toward service, responsibility, and moral alignment. Obedience to duty strengthens the capacity to love, to endure, and to act for causes larger than the ego. It trains the mind to persevere, the heart to remain steady, and the will to act even when conditions are unfavorable. Conversely, surrender to desire narrows the spirit, creating a self-centered life that grows smaller with each indulgence. The greater the discipline to choose duty over desire, the more expansive the life becomes, for the soul learns that true freedom lies not in indulgence, but in mastery over impulses. Finally, the battle between desire and duty teaches the law of action. To obey duty is to move, to progress, to transform potential into reality. To yield to desire is to remain still, to stagnate, to permit potential to fade. Life does not reward comfort. It rewards courage, persistence, and conscientious effort. The one who chooses duty over desire daily may stumble, may feel the weight of labor, and may encounter resistance. Yet each victory strengthens them, builds momentum, and fosters resilience. Those who consistently surrender to desire may feel temporary relief, but they experience long-term frustration, wasted time, and the quiet regret of unfulfilled potential. In this battle, the soul that obeys duty gains mastery, dignity, and meaning, while the soul that indulges desire gains only fleeting pleasure and the slow erosion of purpose. The conflict between desire and duty is not easily resolved, nor should it be, for it is in the struggle that character is forged. The one who chooses duty learns the sacred rhythm of action, the balance of restraint and effort, and the profound satisfaction of a life aligned with purpose. Each moment of choice is a crucible in which the spirit is refined. To embrace duty over desire is to embrace the path of growth, achievement, and true freedom, the path by which the soul discovers its strength, sharpens its focus, and fulfills the potential entrusted to it. The sacredness of work is a truth often overlooked in a world that seeks ease and immediate gratification. Work is not merely a means to an end, a way to earn sustenance or recognition. It is a profound expression of our humanity and a reflection of the spirit within us. Each task, no matter how simple or repetitive, carries within it the potential for growth, discipline, and transformation. When approached with care and intention, work becomes more than labor. It becomes a form of worship, a way of participating in the ongoing creation of the world. The hands that labor with focus and the mind that engages with diligence bring order to chaos, clarity to confusion, and meaning to mere motion. In this sense, work is sacred because it mirrors the higher truths of life, the act of bringing form to the formless, of shaping potential into reality. Many fear work because it demands effort, discipline, and sometimes discomfort. They are drawn instead to comfort, leisure, and the fleeting satisfaction of indulgence. Yet it is through work that character is forged. Each effort expended, each challenge met, each task completed strengthens the soul and teaches endurance. The work that feels burdensome in the moment is often the very work that produces lasting growth. The act of laboring, when approached with reverence and intention, trains the mind to focus, the heart to persevere, and the spirit to trust in the value of diligence. In neglecting work, we neglect the opportunity to refine ourselves, to transform raw potential into tangible results, and to participate in the grand design of life. Work has an inherent dignity that cannot be taken away by the simplicity of the task or the apparent insignificance of the role. A teacher who guides a child, a writer who painstakingly completes a page, a laborer who builds with care and precision, each is engaged in a sacred act. The world is shaped not by ideas alone, but by the consistent, disciplined effort that brings those ideas into existence. The sacredness of work lies in the intention behind it, in the care with which it is performed, and in the awareness that every act, however small, contributes to the greater whole. To approach work without intention is to treat life as disposable. To approach it with reverence is to honor both ourselves and the world around us. Through work, the mind learns patience and the value of perseverance. Rarely does effort yield immediate reward. Most results are the product of cumulative labor over time. This delay can frustrate, yet it is precisely in the persistence of effort that discipline is cultivated. The mind learns to endure, to focus despite distraction, and to find satisfaction not solely in recognition, but in the act itself. There is a quiet power in knowing that even the smallest contributions, if performed faithfully, accumulate into meaningful outcomes. Each day of steady work builds the foundation for future success, teaching the invaluable lesson that greatness is rarely instantaneous, but always the result of committed, consistent effort. Work also teaches humility. It reminds us that we are part of a larger process, that no achievement occurs in isolation, and that mastery comes through learning and repetition. The act of doing, even when results are imperfect, prepares us for greater responsibility and more significant endeavors. Humility is born when we recognize the limits of our current abilities and embrace the necessity of growth through effort. It is through the disciplined application of ourselves to our work that we discover our capacity to learn, adapt, and overcome obstacles. Without work, the mind stagnates, the spirit dulls, and the potential within us remains unshaped. Furthermore, work is a bridge between desire and reality. Dreams, ideas, and intentions remain abstract until labor gives them form. Without work, inspiration alone cannot manifest. It is the disciplined effort that converts imagination into tangible results. The sacredness of work is thus tied to its transformative power. It converts potential into reality, chaos into order, and thought into action. By engaging fully in the tasks before us, no matter how mundane they may appear, we participate in the creation of something enduring. The hands that toil and the mind that focuses are co-creators with the universe, shaping the world through conscious effort. In a society that often prizes leisure over labor, it is crucial to recognize that work is not a punishment but a privilege. The privilege lies in the ability to contribute, to shape, and to engage with the world meaningfully. Each task performed with care and attention is an act of faith. Faith in our own abilities, faith in the process of life, and faith that our efforts, however small, matter. The one who embraces the sacredness of work transforms labor into a source of strength, satisfaction, and purpose. The act of working diligently becomes a path to mastery, a means of self-expression, and a way to participate fully in life itself. Moreover, work instills a sense of responsibility. To engage wholeheartedly in one's duties is to honor the trust placed upon us by circumstances, by others, and by life itself. Responsibility transforms labor from mere obligation into a moral and spiritual act. Each task carries weight, not in its difficulty alone, but in the choice to approach it faithfully. To shirk work is to deny this opportunity, while to embrace it is to recognize the profound influence one can exert through diligence and commitment. The disciplined worker becomes a model of reliability, integrity, and perseverance, embodying virtues that extend far beyond the immediate task. Finally, the sacredness of work lies in its capacity to provide meaning. Life can feel chaotic, purposeless, or overwhelming, yet the act of engaging in work, thoughtful, consistent, and intentional, anchors us in reality. It grounds us in purpose, giving shape to our energy, focus, and creativity. The tasks we undertake, from the smallest daily chore to the grandest enterprise, are threads in the tapestry of our lives. Each thread, carefully woven, contributes to a larger, enduring pattern. Through work, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, the mundane becomes meaningful, and the act of labor itself becomes a path to self-discovery, discipline, and fulfillment. Thus, work is not simply an external activity, it is a sacred practice that cultivates character, sharpens the mind, strengthens the spirit, and gives life its deepest significance. To recognize its sacredness is to embrace each moment of effort as an opportunity for growth, contribution, and transformation. The one who honors work in this way discovers that life itself is elevated through purposeful action, and that the fruits of labor, though often unseen at first, carry a weight and value that endure far beyond the moment of effort. The triumph of the present is the cornerstone of a life fully lived. So often the human mind is occupied with what has been or what might be, as if reality were confined to memory and imagination. Yet the present is the only place where life truly occurs, the only moment in which action can be taken, choices can be made, and destiny shaped. To surrender to regret over the past or anxiety over the future is to forsake the only ground where progress is possible. The present is not merely a fleeting interval between yesterday and tomorrow. It is the arena in which the human spirit engages with the world, wrestles with challenges, and discovers its strength. Those who learn to honor and act in the present find themselves empowered, for they are no longer bound by the illusions of what could have been or what might be, but are fully engaged in what is. Time, when misunderstood, becomes an enemy. We imagine that there will always be another moment to start anew, to pursue a goal, to speak words of truth, or to perform an act of courage. But such assumptions are dangerous, for the future is never guaranteed. Every postponed action diminishes opportunity and undermines the power of the now. To live fully in the present is to recognize the sacredness of each passing moment, understanding that life does not wait for hesitation or uncertainty. The one who seizes today gains an advantage denied to the one who defers. The power to act resides only in the moment, and each decision made now resonates far beyond the present. The present demands engagement. To dwell on the past is to chain oneself to events that can no longer be changed. To obsess over the future is to live in a realm that does not yet exist. Only in the present does life reveal its truths, and only through present action can progress be made. The mind, when focused on the immediate, gains clarity, for it is not distracted by regret or speculation. The heart, when devoted to the moment, finds purpose, for it is not burdened by fear or longing. The will, when exercised in the present, gains power, for it is not weakened by indecision. The triumph of the present is thus both a practical and spiritual principle. It aligns the faculties of the self with the reality that can be influenced and transformed. Living in the present also cultivates gratitude. When the soul is attentive to the moment, it recognizes the opportunities, resources, and beauty that surround it. Every task performed, every challenge faced, every interaction engaged in becomes significant because it is happening now. Gratitude transforms routine into richness, labor into purpose, and moments into meaning. Conversely, when the mind is always fixated on what is to come or what has passed, the richness of life slips unnoticed through the fingers. The present is the canvas upon which all life is painted, and to ignore it is to leave it blank. Those who triumph in the present discover that even ordinary acts, spoken words, thoughtful deeds, patient efforts, carry profound significance when performed with attention and intentionality. The triumph of the present also combats the paralyzing effects of procrastination. Many delays stem from a fixation on perfect conditions, ideal circumstances, or future readiness. The mind convinces itself that action will be more fruitful tomorrow or safer next week, yet these postponements only deepen inertia. The present, however, is always immediate and accessible. To act now is to claim mastery over time, to convert potential into reality, and to generate momentum. Each small act undertaken today compounds, creating opportunities, reinforcing discipline, and building confidence. The moment seized is never wasted, it is invested in progress, shaping outcomes that the hesitant can only dream about. Moreover, the triumph of the present is deeply linked to responsibility. Life is lived not in abstractions, but in concrete engagements, the work we complete, the words we speak, the kindness we extend, the effort we make. Responsibility resides in the moment. It cannot be transferred to the past or postponed into the future. The individual who neglects the present shirks this responsibility, allowing the world and circumstances to dictate the course of life. Conversely, the one who honors the present asserts agency, claiming the authority to shape events through deliberate action. Each choice made today, each task fulfilled, each challenge met is a testimony to the power of engagement and the moral weight of living consciously in the now. The present also sharpens focus and clarity. When attention is scattered across past failures or future uncertainties, the mind becomes restless, distracted, and indecisive. But when centered on the immediate, one gains insight into what can be done, how resources can be applied, and what steps are necessary to achieve goals. The triumph of the present is thus not only philosophical, but practical. It enables productivity, creativity, and strategic action. The person attuned to the present sees solutions, recognizes opportunities, and harnesses energy effectively. Each task approached with presence is performed with precision and care, amplifying its impact and reinforcing the habit of deliberate engagement. Spiritually, the present is the meeting place between effort and grace. It is the arena in which we test ourselves, refine our character, and cultivate virtues such as patience, courage, and diligence. Every moment carries the potential for moral growth, for learning, and for transformation. To neglect the present is to forego this opportunity, allowing life to pass without imprinting meaning on the soul. The triumph of the present is thus an affirmation of our responsibility to ourselves and to the greater order of life. It teaches that action, awareness, and attentiveness in the immediate are the pathways through which character is forged and destiny fulfilled. Finally, to embrace the present is to conquer fear. Anxiety often arises from the unknown future, while regret is rooted in what has already occurred. The present, however, is tangible and actionable. To immerse oneself fully in the now is to find confidence in one's capacity to act, to navigate, and to respond. The moment becomes a place of empowerment, where hesitation loses its grip and potential is transformed into achievement. The soul that masters the present discovers that it does not need to wait for permission, conditions, or inspiration. It is already equipped to act, to grow, and to thrive. In every task, choice, and moment, the triumph of the present asserts itself as both opportunity and duty. By focusing on the now, the human spirit gains clarity, discipline, and power. By acting in the present, the individual converts potential into reality, shapes destiny, and cultivates a life of meaning. The one who seizes the present finds that life's weight is not burdensome, that obstacles are surmountable, and that every moment, no matter how small, carries eternal significance. The present is the only moment that truly belongs to us, and to honor it is to unlock the full measure of our strength, purpose, and potential.